for March the 25th to the 29th, we started off the day with Livy, who is, again, one of the choreographers that I mentioned in my previous vlog. And I was lucky enough to be one of two boys that are in the number. We have a kind of square formation, and the other boy is Lloyd in that. It is a jazz piece to hers and Mrs. TV's song. This number is very jazzy, very quick paced, and initially I was like, whoa, what is going on? I think when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not going to be able to keep up because I'm not a dancer. But when I actually stood where I needed to stand, when I learned the pace of the dance moves and the technicality of it, it became really easy, which I think I surprised myself, because it is a very much like jazz hands, kickball change kind of dance. So we learnt that this week. I think it went really well. We finished about a minute of the piece, which is great. We do have to do the next piece when we come back from Easter half term, but this is just something that I'm going to have to just listen to on repeat. I think a lot of the dances that we are doing in this number, other than It Must Be Believed to Be Seen, my main focus during the times where I have my free time is to just rehearse. I think that's probably the only thing that you can do in those situations. You just need to constantly rehearse the patterns, the style of the song. And I think for me, to make sure that my technicality is on point for this jazz number, and even for the Oompa Loompa dance, I think it will be important for me to do my research, to do to kind of just do that. I'm very familiar with jazz anyway, because obviously we have our jazz lessons with Cheryl every week, twice a week, so I understand some parts of it. I think because I have my dance lessons with Cheryl, because a lot of our preparation works and corner work is solely based on the fundamentals of jazz, I didn't find Livy's jazz number as difficult as I thought it would be. It looks difficult, but when you're actually doing it and you adapt those things that you have learned from Cheryl's lessons, I found it quite easy to do. I think I surprised myself a little bit. But like I said, just rehearsal for that, constant. Like, I know that I can always ask Livy what, or how this is supposed to look, or like, am I doing this right? And I know that I can always go to her for that reassurance, because we have that kind of friendship, which I also think is great during rehearsal period. Like, if I'm struggling with something, I know that I can be like, hold up a minute, can we do that a couple more times? I know that I would be worse off if I didn't ask. So I think that that's really nice that I have that confidence now to be like, I need to see that again. Again, this week we ran through It Must Be Believed to Be Seen, which is just a lot of blocking, not necessarily dance moves, but very staccato. It's a character based number. It is predominantly based on characterization as photographers, as paparazzi. It's not necessarily based on your capability to dance, which is nice because, like I said, I'm not a dancer. So I think for me, this number is probably going to be one of my favourites, just because I can compensate for bad dancing through just acting. So I think that that's great. And for the rest of the week, we kind of worked on bits and bobs that we had missed. So like our Charlie proposal, just some bits and like just setting up our Wix accounts, making sure everything is on our OneDrive. So a lot of the rest of the week was just like, for about 3 days of the week, it was, well, no, 2 days of the week, it was based on finishing the stuff that we had failed to finish, which I know in the future that is something that I need to work on to make sure that my work is done on time and is working well. But I think that through the rehearsals that we have had the past couple of weeks, I think as a class, as a cast, and as just a group of friends, we were doing really well in working together. We haven't come into any kind of difficulties with we haven't come into any difficulties with any dance or anything like that. So that gives me the reassurance that everything will be okay, and that I just need to rehearse, making sure that I'm stretching. But that's the week.